welcome to Oulton Park for something a little bit different. Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and I'm at Oulton Park today for the rally. This is my first proper taste of rally. Had a little bit of a taster for it at Goodwood Festival of Speed earlier in the year, and this is something a little bit different because it's using the circuit as a stage. First thing we noticed when we walked in was the going the wrong way.
So there's 4 different stages, each one getting run twice. Now each stage includes or excludes different parts of the circuit to make it a challenge and a different experience each time it's run. But as someone that has only seen the track run one way, seeing the cars come the wrong way at you is quite unnerving.
Throughout the day we're going to be walking through the paddocks, having a bit of a closer look at some of the cars that we're watching go past right now, and picking various spots through the day around the circuit to see little areas of the stage. And to wrap it all off, at the end of the day, there's a fireworks show and bonfire, which is just going to be spectacular. So let's get straight into it. Now, as I've always said, at any track day you go to, race day, race weekend, whatever, if you're able to, walk around the paddock at the first possible opportunity. Get a close look at some of the cars and see what you're going to be watching for the rest of the day.
Doing this, you get to see the teams working on the cars, you can find some hidden gems around the pits and paddock, get a little bit of an idea of what goes on behind the scenes of a race team, and maybe even chat to a few drivers.
Now there is such a variety of cars here. We've got some proper rally legends like Subarus and the modern day machinery of the R5 category. But there's also some stuff that you don't often see in rally. There's some MX5s and M3s. They're quite hard to handle being rear wheel drive.
Now talking of hard to handle, it looked like the drivers were really struggling out there. It looked like there was absolutely no grip on the surface, especially in the rear wheel drive cars like these Escorts. Some drivers managing the conditions better than others. It wasn't just oversteer that the drivers were struggling with, there was just no grip at all. You can see the drivers being really careful or just understeering through the corner. Well, either understeer or a little bit of handbrake to help them go round. But back to the pits.
Now the pits and paddocks are a hive of activity and you really got to look out for where you're going, and you sometimes see a little bit of a surprise.
It's definitely the first time I've seen an RC car ripping around a paddock. Now you know something's going on when there is a massive group of people hurdled around a trailer. And I couldn't really see what was going on, so I stuck my camera over the top of everyone's head, and there was a car that had a little bit of a buff.
Now there are many draws to this event. It's not only just the rally cars.
There's stuff for the whole family, there's simulators to have a go on, there's RC displays that you can try and have a play with, there's a fun fair, and there was also some show cars. Now on display there was such a wide range. There was Fords, Ferraris, Subarus, but there was one particular one that caught my eye.
So one of my favourite liveries of all time on any motorsport is a Stobart livery, and we've got one right here on a Ford Focus. Absolutely stunning with all the logos going down the side.
Now I might be biased because green's my favourite colour, but this is just a stunning livery. Now before we get into the track action, there's one car I really want to talk about, and that's the car of John and Alex Stone, a father and son pair that rally together. Now what makes this pair so different? Alex, the co-driver, lives with Down syndrome. Now I am fully behind any form of inclusion of any disability in motorsport. Now seeing these two not only take part, but do well, just warmed my heart. So we watched from a variety of corners, each part offering its own characteristics and its own little taste of rally. There's this section here where they've combined the hairpin and the regular chicane from different layouts of the regular circuit. And this really helps display the importance of the weight transfer and how it's used to really get the optimum out of a rally car. It was definitely easier to see in the older rally cars like this Evo here, the driver just not being able to push quite as hard and go through there with as much confidence. And it's exactly the same with this Subaru. It can also be down to the driver, either just not as confident as a driver, or not wanting to prang their very expensive rally cars. We also spent a little bit of time at the start of the stage, where the cars come out of the pit lane and go around this tight little hairpin. You get two viewpoints here really, because you got that little hairpin as they come out the pit lane, and also as they're climbing up from turn 2 down toward turn 1 and going around the outside of that hairpin. And we see a similar trend as we did with the chicane, with the older cars having to be a lot more gentle around this little section, comparing that to the flamboyance of the modern four-wheel drive systems and a little bit of use of handbrake to get the car to turn. We finished the day off watching at Hilltop, which is where we normally watch the touring cars from, so we've sat here quite a few times over different forms of motorsport. You get a great view as the cars come down cascades, off into the distance, and then back down this back straight toward the Hislop chicane, even seeing a little bit of overtaking action, which you don't always see in rallies because normally the cars are so spread out. But the way the circuit rally works is they'll start the stage and then go onto the circuit. The stage will then be over multiple laps, with maybe the final lap being different with going left or right over a certain split. And this will result in cars with different paces being around each other on track, which provides these overtaking opportunities. At this point, the sun started to set as the last few runners were completing their stages in the dark, and that resulted in my phone that I've recorded most of these on-track clips from really started to struggle with the light, and the quality just plummeted in the videos. It really doesn't do it justice how cool this was, seeing the cars cut through the darkness with super high beams on, pushing the cars to the limit. It looked and sounded so cool. Did get this really cool soft effect because my camera had nothing to focus on with it being so dark, so that's a positive from it, I guess. But for someone that relies on seeing track action through their phone because of my visual impairment, it did kind of hamper the last half hour or so of track action. But the bonfire was soon lit and the firework display started. It was a spectacular show. I'm not going to put it all in because it was quite long, and if you want to go see it, you've got to go to the rally next year. This is my last day at a track for the year, and what a special way to round out the 2025 season of motorsport. Back in the car now. Camera's really struggled with those last couple stages, but it's been an awesome day, although a little bit chilly. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you are new here, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and coming back for future videos. I'm going to end the video off with some just footage from the day, so stick around and watch that. Have a fantastic day. Keep plodding on.